It all starts with a young man named Zhang Chen, who wakes up to a voice welcoming him to the apocalyptic world and announcing that the reincarnation game is about to begin. Chen rises, still dazed, as a 1-minute countdown to the start of the game begins. During his time, something approaches him, and he suddenly finds himself face to face with a zombie. Startled and utterly confused, Chen realizes he is in an abandoned place surrounded by zombies. With 50 seconds left, the voice instructs Chen that his sole objective in this apocalyptic world is to survive. It also informs him that the game's functions and the structuring of the world are being processed. As the countdown continues, Chen processes the fact that he is in an apocalyptic world in a game called the Reincarnation Game. He remembers the city experiencing a power outage and him falling asleep, leading him to believe he's having a nightmare. At that moment, the game announces that the zombies are in a static state and cannot move or be killed, so he should seize this opportunity to find a hiding place as quickly as possible. However, Chen, convinced it's just a dream, ignores the game's advice and punches himself in the face, attempting to wake from his nightmare. After complaining about the pain from the punch and failing to wake up, he starts to accept that this might be real. With only 40 seconds remaining, Chen panics and starts running, screaming for help, hoping not to be devoured by zombies, with just 30 seconds left until the game starts. As he runs in search of shelter, he is informed that the place is called Blue Star, which has culture and technology similar to Earth, though it is 100 times larger. Chen tries to find a hiding spot, but every place he looks is swarming with zombies, increasing his desperation. The game continues to provide relevant information, explaining that the world is occupied by zombies and mutant creatures. Players must eliminate these creatures to collect energy and become stronger. Moreover, the game advises that doing so will be easier if the player has weapons. With 26 seconds to go, Chen, tired from running, laments that he did nothing to deserve this frustration. He starts to freak out over the lack of time, while the game announces that there are resource boxes scattered around the world, which he could obtain for a chance to get good equipment. Chen vomits nervously as the countdown reaches 22 seconds. However, he decides to pull himself together, remembering that he is in a game and as an expert gamer, he won't die so easily. At that moment, the game informs that everyone has a special ring that can be used to store things and players can increase their storage space using energy. Chen complains about not receiving any useful information. Soon, the game tells him that he can use the collect ability to quickly gather materials from zombies and mutant creatures. It also explains that the current mutation classification is suppressed, but this suppression, responsible for controlling this state, gradually weakens every 30 days. Therefore, he must prepare in advance to face increasingly dangerous creatures. With only 10 seconds left until the official start of the game, Chen focuses on finding something quickly to defend himself against zombies or mutant creatures. Fortunately, at that moment, he finds a zombie in military gear carrying a shield. Chen rushes to reach his target in time, and with a few seconds left, he grabs the shield from the zombie and forcefully pulls it away. Along with the shield, Chen grabs a grenade the zombie had and runs away. However, in his haste, he bumps into another zombie, causing him to fall to the ground just as the countdown ends and the zombies around him awaken due to the official start of the reincarnation game. Then dozens of zombies run towards Chen, ready to attack him. Lying on the ground and desperate, the game wishes him good luck. Chen protects himself with the shield he managed to grab as a horde of zombies closes in on him. Terrified, he struggles to keep the shield steady. Another zombie in military gear tries to reach him, but Chen pushes the creature away with a kick and starts running away from the zombies. Quickly, he activates the grenade he had obtained and throws it towards the zombies. Continuing to run as fast as he can, a massive explosion occurs behind him. Chen manages to distance himself from the area and passes another player who screams for help while being attacked by 2 zombies. He then passes another player who is hanging from a pole, desperately trying to protect himself from a horde of zombies, as well as another who tries his luck inside an abandoned vehicle, leading Chen to realize that some players teleported from Earth had no time to react to this apocalyptic world. He moves on, searching for a safe place to hide, until he finds an abandoned restaurant and rushes to it, relieved to have finally found a shelter. However, at that moment, the game notification informs him that there are 27 zombies inside the establishment, and that if he enters in that form, he will only end up becoming their food. Chen stops running, puzzled by the warning's red color, since all the others were in blue. Then he sees 2 young people near him when he receives a new notification in the usual color, informing that there is a supermarket near the restaurant with 6 zombies and a bit of potable water, and that if the player has a weapon and a swift and strong body, it will be possible to enter and fight the creatures. Chen watches the players heading for the restaurant's entrance and wonders whether they didn't see the red notification or think they are strong enough to face 27 zombies. However, as soon as the duo enters the establishment, they scream in desperation as they encounter the zombies, showing that they were unaware of the danger. Chen looks around and questions whether he was the only one who saw the notification. Then he realizes that this might be a cheat ability, which apparently only he possesses. However, Chen moves on, deciding to put aside this mystery and focus first on surviving. As he passes by a store, the system informs him that there are no zombies in that location, and that there is also a level 1 resource box. Obviously, he runs toward the store and closes the door as soon as he enters, finally able to catch his breath in a safe place. Then Chen goes to the resource box and opens it, finding a bottle of mineral water, an axe, and an injectable medicine, which can cause the player's physical fitness to reach an extremely strong state. At that moment, a notification appears explaining that the physical state of people in the game is divided into 5 categories: weak, common, strong, and extremely strong, leading Chen to recognize that he was very lucky to have found that box. Then he takes the injection and prepares to apply it to his body, wondering how strong he will become. Chen injects the substance into his arm, causing the veins in his body to change. He screams in pain, terrified and sweating coldly as he undergoes the modifications. To make matters worse, the game warns only after the application that person's physique needs to reach a strong state to evolve. In Chen's current situation, he has only a 30% chance of surviving, as those who are not prepared to evolve cannot withstand it. This leaves him even more panicked, and he complains about the game not warning him of the risks beforehand. Chen yells, rolling on the ground in so much pain, while zombies scratch at the door trying to enter at any cost. Then he bites his own arm to endure the pain silently, realizing that his screams were attracting the zombies, and he struggles to hold on and survive the alteration in his body. Meanwhile, outside, a woman and a man flee from dozens of zombies. One of the creatures approaches the player named Wang Jiram, who quickly draws his sword and easily beheads the zombie, celebrating the usefulness of the injectable medicine, which made him so strong that he feels like the owner of the area. After all, he was the first to achieve the extremely strong category. Back inside the store, the effect of the injection finally ends, making Chen return to normal. He quickly grabs the water that was in the box and drinks it all at once, discarding the empty bottle afterward. Then the guy looks at his hands, relieved to still be alive, and begins to cry with emotion for having managed to resist the modification in his body, when he suddenly hears a scream calling for help. Chen is worried about so much noise and questions whether the person wants to attract even more zombies. On the edge of the building, a woman with her dress all torn continues to scream for help while some zombies try to approach her. At the same time, the zombies continue trying to invade the establishment that Chen protected himself in. He observes that by the noise, there are many of them. Then the guy picks up his shield and his new axe and goes to the stairs, where he receives a notification informing that the second floor has 7 zombies attracted by the woman's screams, and that he can eliminate the creatures by attacking from behind. With few options, Chen decides to take the risk and test the capacity of the extremely strong category he received with the injectable medicine. On the second floor, the girl continues screaming from the ledge while the zombies try to reach her through the window. Suddenly, the young woman sees one of them being struck in the head by an axe. Then, Chen appears at the window, asking her to stop attracting the zombies with her screams. Desperate for help, the woman asks him to help her quickly. Then the guy bravely faces the zombies, eliminating one by one with his axe, while noting that his strength and reaction speed have increased. At that moment, a zombie, still standing, approaches the window, causing the girl to let out another scream, and Chen complains that if she continues doing this, neither of them will be able to get out alive. Downstairs, the door finally gives way and a horde of zombies invades the building. Then the guy asks the woman to take his hand quickly. However, she hesitates to leave the spot when Chen receives a notification informing that he managed to pick up, from one of the zombie corpses he eliminated, an energy core crystal, a car key, and 3 mutant fertilizers. In another, he already obtained an energy core crystal, a small knife, and 2 mutant fertilizers, while in another he obtained just an energy core crystal and 5 mutant fertilizers. At that moment, Chen sees dozens of zombies approaching and starts running, abandoning the woman who does nothing but scream. He reaches a corridor where the system informs him that to the left there are no zombies, but it's a dead end, while to the right there are 11 zombies and a VIP elevator that leads to the 3rd floor, which is safe. Chen quickly dashes to the right, encountering the local zombies, and charges at them, attacking with his axe. However, as he pauses, the horde of zombies that was following him is getting closer. Then he picks up the pace, advancing while quickly eliminating the zombies in his path with his super strength. He bravely continues, even throwing a zombie out the window until he finally reaches the VIP elevator. Unfortunately, he realizes it requires a VIP card to activate and access. At that moment, Chen hears a noise and turns his head towards the sound, seeing a zombie in special gear slowly approaching him, making him freeze in fear. The system informs that the zombie has a key that opens the door to the 3rd floor's presidential suite, which is currently safe and perfect for a temporary base. Moreover, it also has the VIP elevator card, having everything Chen needs to reach the shelter. With no other option, he charges at the zombie, managing to hit the creature's arm. However, his axe gets stuck with the blow. Then Chen defends himself with his shield as the zombie attacks, with the axe hanging from his arm and the shield flies out of his hand from the impact. At that moment, Chen sees another zombie coming towards him, quickly catching up. Completely unprotected, he blocks the creature with his bare hand and overwhelmed by rage, he forcefully pushes the creature away, dislodging it completely, while questioning if they think he's weak. Then the zombie in gear advances towards Chen, who throws the head of the one he just killed at it, using everything at his disposal. Then the guy grabs a fire extinguisher from the building and hits the zombie on the head, causing it to fall with the impact, the extinguisher's foam completely covering its vision. Chen seizes the opportunity and retrieves his hammer, as well as managing to grab the elevator card and the suite keys. Victorious, he taunts the creature, boasting about his success. Afterwards, he presses the button to call the elevator, in a hurry to get out before more zombies arrive. Suddenly, Chen starts feeling sick, realizing that the injectable medication has side effects, while the veins in his neck begin turning green. At that moment, he hears a noise and turning around, he faces a zombie police officer, worrying him since he's not in a good condition to fight. The police zombie has a revolver in his outfit, but Chen can't do anything to capture her because soon after, dozens of zombies appear, filling the place. They try to attack the young man, who defends himself with a shield. Then the elevator finally opens and Chen rushes inside, realizing he needs to quickly find the room suggested by the system so he can take shelter. The zombies try to reach the elevator door, but it closes just in time and Chen safely reaches the third floor of the building, though tired from the ordeal. The system then notifies him that he has arrived at the presidential suite, which has 5 rooms, no zombies, and can be accessed with a VIP card. Relieved to have made it, Chen's relief is short-lived as the side effects of the injectable medicine worsen, making him scream in pain. He regrets the discomfort, unable to bear the situation any longer. But with no other choice, he proceeds to the suite, where he finds a refrigerator. Chen drops the axe on the floor and walks with difficulty, his entire body aching. He opens the fridge and finds a stash of water bottles. Quickly, he grabs one, opens it, and pours it into his mouth, gulping down the entire bottle at once, leaving him breathless. However, as if by a miracle, he immediately feels better. Chen notices that his combatability has significantly increased, just like the last time he drank water, which means that hydrating himself removes the remaining drugs from his body. With the suite's large water supply, he could become incredibly powerful. Moreover, Chen reflects that if he can find a sniper rifle the next day, he will no longer need to fear the zombie horde. Later, as evening falls, 6 players struggle outside, trying to survive the apocalypse, while Chen enjoys the comfort of the suite and the abundance of food inside. The group manages to enter a building, escaping the zombies, and they block the passage with a table, while Chen indulges in Coca-Cola. The survivors fight off the zombies they encounter on their floor, and a young man named Zhang Hao urges the others to hurry and block the sides and treat their wounds, ensuring they stay together to withstand the zombies. In the suite, Chen continues to enjoy all the food. Meanwhile, nearby, Wang Jie ran after having eliminated some players with his sword, thanks them for their effort in gathering supplies and says he will take care of everything for them from now on, calling them heroes. As Chen ends up with a full stomach from eating so much, Wang comments to himself that it's time to go to a mall to look for police zombies to obtain weapons. During the night, as some zombies wander aimlessly under the moonlight, Zhang Hao's group remains stationed where they manage to fend off the zombies. The guy analyzes the game system, trying to find a way to gather more players for his team so they can form a survivor camp, while his companions pray for a safe night. Nearby, in some part of the city, a girl shelters from some zombies inside a refuge and tells herself not to be afraid. Back in the presidential suite, feeling completely satisfied, Chen decides to take the opportunity to check the supplies. Inside his storage, the guy sees that besides the weapons he found in his shield, he possesses a clean fabric, which the system explains is used to strengthen clothing protection and to obtain a sewing kit manual, which will allow the creation of new clothes. Additionally, Chen has mutant fertilizers, which are used to accelerate the growth of plants and livestock. With 10 of them, it's possible to synthesize all into a single rapid growth fertilizer. The guy also possesses energy core crystals, which can be used to increase his physique, but for that, he needs to be at level 100, while he is still at level 10. Lastly, he also has some money, which can be used to buy items in convenience machines that have a long shelf life. Chen reflects that zombie corpses are mutant fertilizers, and that the game gives him energy core crystals when he eliminates them, making zombies true treasures. However, the storage space he has is quite small. forcing him to remove all the smaller items to free up space for some food and drinkable water, ensuring he can leave with sufficient resources. Then Chen notices that he also obtained a car key, and the system recommends that he look for a parking lot inside the building, which has important items. This catches the guy's attention, but he decides to look for the place only after obtaining the weapons. Then Chen decides to check how the other players are doing. He opens the chat where the game allows them to exchange messages. One of them asks if anyone has water, as he had to run for 1 kilometer to escape a zombie and is very thirsty. Another person asked if anyone is near the Holy Forest Hospital, as he ended up trapped in the medical office on the 5th floor and needs help. Another player recounts that he eliminated a zombie and collected an energy core crystal, offering the item in exchange for food or water. Lastly, a person commented having seen a mega powerful player with an axe through the sales center windows, who eliminated a dozen zombies alone. This person expresses interest in contacting that player to be his assistant. Chen realizes she is referring to him and feels embarrassed for being called a mega powerful player. Chen continues reading and finds a message from Zheng Hao, who introduces himself and tells that he and his 6 friends have established a base called Lucky Camp. He says that any interested player can send their location via private message so that his team can meet them the next day, as he believes they all need to work together, sharing resources and skills to fight the zombies. Chen admits that Zheng Hao's idea is good, but as he has a hidden ability, this might occasionally cause problems if someone discovers it. Therefore, he decides it's better to continue alone. At that moment, the players see that Wang has 3 bottles of water and 3 canned ham sausages. Everyone immediately starts commenting on how lucky the guy is and considers trading something with him for food. One person even comments that Wang probably started the game near a supermarket and complains about how the world is unfair, since he, apparently, is the only one trapped inside a bathroom. Chen also thinks about trading his resources with the other players using the game's trading area. He observes Wang trading water and food in exchange for some energy core crystals, something essential for leveling up, and reflects that if the player continues on this path, he will be able to increase his combat capacity to an unimaginable state in a short period of time. However, unlike Wang, Chen already thinks that in this initial period, food and water are the most important things. After all, no matter how strong a person's combat ability is, if they don't have a way to replenish their energies, so he decides to take advantage of everyone prioritizing getting stronger to trade the weapons he obtained for more canned meat and purified water. And so in less than 3 seconds, Chen manages to trade 2 normal knives and 3 kitchen knives for canned meat and purified water, being super happy with the result. Then he sees players offering more trades. A Hao offering underwear in exchange for a weapon, Wan Kang trading a brick for lunch, and Liu Chao trading a chair for an energy core crystal. Until something catches his attention. A player named Xiao Xiaoyu is willing to negotiate privately a map of Tianyang City, a map of Tianyang University campus, and a bloodstained key 5. Then Chen quickly clicks on the private chat to negotiate the map, contacting the girl through a video call, who was sheltering from some zombies inside a refuge. The guy says he wants the maps and the key and asks her to send her price for the 3. Yu tells him she needs food and pure water to drink, but if he doesn't have both, she accepts trading everything just for water. Chen reflects that with the map, he can roughly determine where the supplies are concentrated and which area is dangerous. However, even knowing the importance of the map, he comes to the conclusion that he can't expose the amount of resources he has and decides to offer a low price first. Then the guy bluffs, saying that the map isn't very useful to him and offers to trade half a bottle of drinkable water and half a canned meat for the 3 items she has. The girl immediately accepts the offer, making Chen surprised to have closed the deal on the first try. Afterward, he places the food and the bottle in the trading system and asks her to confirm the exchange. Yu does this and receives the supplies. She thanks Chen and says he really is a divine person, different from the others. The guy feels embarrassed and says they must help each other. After all, it's not easy to survive in this apocalyptic world. Then the girl drinks the water so quickly to quench her thirst that she starts to choke. He tells Yu to take it easy and thinks about starting by adding her as a friend. So when he gets more resources, he can do what's fair and give her more supplies, since he's already devoured everything he had. Then Chen suggests to Yu that they add each other as friends. He also takes the opportunity to ask her location and comments that it must be an important place, considering that she managed to obtain special resources like maps. However, the moment the guy asks this, the girl ends the video call, leading him to think that Yu really hit the nail on the head by deducing that she's in a special place. But Chen understands Yu not sharing her location after all. In that world without rules and moral restrictions, the girl needs to be on guard all the time. Besides, he thinks he also needs to go to bed early. The next day, the zombies continue wandering aimlessly through the city. While in a building, Zheng He's group prepares to leave the shelter to help the player who was trapped in the Holy Forest Hospital, located 2 blocks from where they are. The guy asks them to stay together and not separate. Meanwhile, Chen goes down the elevator to the 2nd floor with his axe and shield in hand. As soon as the door opens, the guy gets ready and enters zombie killer mode to face the horde. However, all he finds is an empty corridor, which makes him wonder where all the zombies went. Then Chen notices human blood on the floor, which means that some player has already been there. The man is puzzled by the amount of blood scattered everywhere and reflects that if someone had been bitten by a zombie, the blood would look different, leading him to conclude that someone is hunting the players. Chen also notices that the killer has managed to take the police zombie's revolver and might be nearby. The man's hand starts to tremble, but he forces himself to stay calm. After all, the person eliminating the other players doesn't have a VIP card, so they can't use the building's elevator. Moreover, there's a chance they have already left since they didn't know someone was on the 3rd floor. Chen decides to prioritize heading to the parking lot to find the vehicle matching his key as the system had suggested. However, as he makes his way to the parking lot, someone appears at the window, Wang, who is hidden, watching Chen. He deduces that Chen must have many valuable resources since he can run fast and has a reasonably strong physique. Holding the revolver, Wang decides to wait for him to return. In the building's parking lot, Chen uses the car key to trigger the alarm and identify his vehicle. The noise attracts 2 zombies, but Chen is undeterred, considering himself the most dangerous thing in the place. He easily takes down the pair of zombies, obtaining from one 4 clean fabric, 2 mutant fertilizer, and 1 energy core crystal, and from the other 2 clean fabric, 4 mutant fertilizer, and 1 energy core crystal. He then goes to the car, opens the door, and is surprised to find extremely valuable items, a rifle and 5 boxes, leading him to be certain that the system's hidden tips are not normal. Chen collects the items, feels rich, and exits the car, deciding as a precaution to continue looking for more supplies only after fully absorbing the injectable medicine. However, he then changes his mind, concluding that he can't return to the suite immediately. After all, he had only assumed that the killer had left, but there's still a chance they are nearby, watching the elevator. On the 2nd floor, the area remains empty when an empty-can rolls on the floor. Wang, still armed and on alert, waiting for Chen's return, is puzzled by the noise. Meanwhile, on the other side of the door, the protagonist prepares for the potential encounter between the two. The system, proving useful once again, alerts Chen that there is an armed man in the guest room opposite the elevator. Chen is on high alert, relieved that he arrived quietly, when suddenly he notices the empty can in front of him and finds it odd. Chen decides not to move unless his enemy does. At that moment, he hears a woman scream for help in the distance and recognizes it as the same woman he met before and tried to save, puzzled that she is still alive. Then he hears Wang complaining about the woman being downstairs and realizes that Wang is approaching. Chen moves first, ready to shoot, finds nothing but an empty hallway and realizes that the killer has gone downstairs. Although he has escaped the enemy, Chen concludes that he cannot let him go as he won't be able to sleep peacefully at night knowing he is a target. Outside the building, the girl screams, tied to a tree, attracting all the zombies around. She begs the men who tied her to release her before the creatures get closer. One of them responds that since they saved her, she now needs to do everything they say. He then orders the girl to scream more because she hasn't attracted enough zombies yet. Her younger brother questions whether the 2 of them alone can handle so many zombies, and the man explains that if the guy with the axe managed to kill 8 creatures without breaking a sweat, it means the zombie bodies are very weak. The girl screams again, desperate as the zombies get closer to the tree. The first to reach her tears a piece of her cheek, while dozens of others approach the site. The 20 zombies attack the girl while she is still alive, and the 2 brothers take the opportunity to attack while the creatures are distracted. The older one advances on a zombie, managing to hit its head with his kitchen knife, but then panics when it gets stuck. After realizing the foolishness of their actions, the brothers flee with 24 zombies in pursuit. The elder looks back while running and upon grasping the severity of the situation, sees no other choice but to sacrifice his younger brother by throwing him to the zombie horde. Enraged, the younger brother screams that he won't let him get away even if he becomes a zombie himself. Chen, hidden in a bush, watches as morality completely collapses due to the cursed apocalypse and waits for the appearance of the player killer. Meanwhile, the man continues trying to escape the zombies chasing him, heading right towards the bush where Chen is hiding. In that moment, the man trips and falls to the ground. Chen watches the scene, pleased that the man got what he deserved as the player screams, being devoured by the zombies. Suddenly, a zombie stands up and Chen realizes he's been spotted. Fearing that gunfire would only attract more zombies, he grabs his axe as the zombie also prepares to advance. Without hesitation, Chen emerges from his hiding spot to confront the zombies. He advances determinedly towards the creatures and easily dispatches them with his axe until only he remains standing in the scene. Then Chen observes the lifeless body of the man on the ground and notices a ring on his finger. The system informs him that this is the player's storage ring, which allows for the extraction of resources and can be used as upgrade material. Chen realizes that this storage can only be obtained from another player, meaning that to increase storage space and carry more items, one must eliminate other players. He questions how the game can function this way. At that moment, the system asks Chen to look up. Confused about the reason for this request, a person approaches, ready to attack him. Fortunately, Chen dodges just in time to escape the blow, and the attacker, Wang, strikes the ground with his sword. The assassin complains about his target's quick reaction while Chen processes what was happening. He stands ready, with his shield and axe in hand, and Wang celebrates that the two have finally met. Then he reveals that he exited the building through a window specifically to lure Chen and comments that he never imagined the guy would actually fall for his trap. Chen is surprised, not understanding how the assassin could know he was hidden behind the wall. Wang begins to laugh and explains that the empty can, which had just been eaten and was rolling, made the situation very obvious. He then tells Chen that he is very inexperienced and therefore shouldn't feel bad about going down by his hands. However, Chen replies that it's not clear who will bite the dust until they fight, and Wang smiles, amused by his opponent's confidence. He prepares and advances on Chen, who narrowly dodges the attack. Wang delivers a second blow and says he will let Chen witness the power of an extremely strong person. Chen ducks, receiving only a cut on his face, realizing he narrowly escaped. The man dodges again, and the assassin comments on the speed of his reaction. However, Wang then delivers another blow, hitting Chen and sending him flying away. Wang asks if his opponent can no longer stand up while Chen remains on the ground, recognizing that the assassin is quite experienced in combat. He realizes that it will be difficult to win the fight, even with a weapon, and that he needs to think of a strategy to survive. Then Wang prepares the final attack and says that Chen's game ends now. However, Chen is quicker and grabs his opponent, who is surprised to realize that he can still move. Wang curses while Chen continues to hold him and says that the two cannot live together peacefully, as he is hunting players. Then Wang challenges his opponent and elbows him in the back. Chen feels the blow but remains holding the assassin and questions why he doesn't shoot, since he has a gun. Wang, annoyed, responds that he will do as he wishes. Then the assassin takes out his revolver, following Chen's plan, who realizes that he must act now or never. He bites his opponent's arm hard, who becomes increasingly irritated, and with the gun in hand, swears he will finish him. Wang moves away from Chen, who takes the opportunity to retrieve an item from his storage, the shotgun he acquired from the car. Wang smiles, enjoying the fight, and points his revolver at his opponent, who acts faster and points his shotgun right at his head. Chen gasps due to the effort, but his plan ends up working as planned. Realizing he has lost the fight, Wang asks to negotiate. Meanwhile, nearby, several zombies approach Zheng Hao's group, attracted by the sound of the gunshot. Due to the circumstances, he asks everyone to return to the gym where they were sheltered. Back to Chen, after ending Wang, he feels the fatigue of the fight as the zombies approach ever closer. The man falls to the ground next to Wang's lifeless body, too exhausted to move. At that moment, the system notifies that Xiao Xiyu is requesting a private chat. Chen accepts the requests, starting a video call, and the girl is startled to see him lying on the ground with dozens of zombies approaching. Yu warns of the danger and tells him to get up quickly. She also mentions that she has sent him adrenaline to help him. Chen then struggles to move and access his storage with the little time he has left. He takes the adrenaline, and the system notifies that it can trigger human physical aptitude, causing the person to enter a short-term frenzied state, with the effect starting 3 seconds after use. The man applies the adrenaline to his leg, hoping that the effect of the medicine starts before the zombies reach him. And so Chen sits on the ground while the adrenaline countdown begins. The zombies get closer, and he holds firm to Wang's sword, preparing to attack as soon as possible. Then, when the 3 seconds are up, Chen precisely eliminates the closest zombies, thanks to the effect of the adrenaline. He strikes as many creatures as he can, and the system informs that the effect of the adrenaline will last 10 minutes, a time he considers sufficient to return to the suite. Tens of zombies continue to approach, leaving Chen worried about the number he attracted with his shot. He screams as the creatures approach and runs in the opposite direction, but soon encounters more zombies in front of him, realizing they are everywhere. Those coming from behind rapidly advance in his direction, and Chen takes the revolver, seeing no other option but to use the weapon. However, he panics when he realizes that he has no more bullets. At that moment, a zombie approaches his leg, causing Chen to lose balance and fall to the ground. From the new angle, he notices some parking limiters on the ground. Chen grabs his sword, this time with a plan in mind. The man advances along the path, eliminating the closest zombies with precise blows. He runs to the parking limiters, grabs one of them, and makes an effort to pull the iron bar from the ground. And so Chen prepares to face the zombies with his sword in one hand and the iron bar in the other. He waits for the right moment and, with determination, advances to fight. At that moment, two players from the top of a building watch Chen bravely eliminating several zombies and are impressed with his strength, especially since he is fighting alone against 10 creatures. On top of a vehicle, another player also sees Chen and comments to others through the game chat that someone is eliminating all the zombies alone. However, a zombie much larger than the others appears, passing by this player and heads straight towards Chen, who is surprised by the size of the creature. The system warns that the path behind the large zombie leads to the edge of a river, where there is a steel wire fence that can contain the horde of zombies. Through a video call with the player who was on top of the vehicle, Zheng He's group sees Chen facing several zombies alone, and a girl from the team asks if that would be Wang Jiran. After much struggle, Chen finally approaches the steel wire fence indicated by the system. With great effort, he manages to jump over the fence. On the other side, the man looks back, observing the dozens of zombies that continue to follow him. Chen bids them farewell, feeling victorious, but suddenly feels his strength fading, returning to feeling the exhaustion in his body due to the end of the effect of the adrenaline, which makes him fall from the top of the steel wire fence. Chen lands safely on the other side, but starts to feel the effects of the injectable medicine again. At that moment, the system notifies that he already has enough resources to level up, and that this will help him fully absorb the medicine. Then Chen checks his storage space and is shocked to see the number of items Wang had acquired. Combined with what he already possessed, the resources add up: 105 energy core crystals, 90 mutant fertilizers, 109 canned meats, 166 bottles of pure water, 184 ham sausages, 10 storage ring fragments, and all weapons, including the katana, revolver, and shotgun, with the 4 cartridges. In addition, Chen acquired the design of a sharp blade, which requires 10 metal weapons and 10 energy core crystals to create a steel blade that never wears out. He also obtained a map fusion tool, which can scan the obtained maps to create a navigation map that will appear whenever he requests it. Chen evaluates the resources and reflects that with so much food and water, he won't need to worry about that for a good while. Then the man spends 100 energy core crystals to level up. At the same time, he feels the difference as if each cell in his body is full of energy, just as the side effect of the medicine also disappears. Then the system notifies that Chen has reached the human body classification limit, and to continue leveling up and reach the Awakener classification, he will need 300 energy core crystals. Excited, Chen decides to test his strength. He punches a rock, which shatters into thousands of pieces. Surprised by his power, Chen cries with emotion when the system interrupts his moment to notify that his storage ring has met the necessary conditions for an upgrade. After the upgrade, Chen now has a rank 2 storage, with 24 item spaces. He also discovers that to obtain rank 3 storage, which activates a virtual garage, he will need 100 storage rings and 50 energy core crystals. So Chen reflects that he wouldn't have survived without the help he received and decides he needs to give back to the player in some way. Suddenly, something catches his attention. A system alert pops up warning that all players must prepare, as there are only 10 days left until the second phase of the game, when the weakening period for zombies and mutant creatures will be removed. Zheng He's group also sees the game alert about Phase 2, and everyone is worried about the increased strength of the zombies, especially since they still don't have proper weapons. As the group's leader, Zheng He asks his friends not to lose heart and reminds them that the team is stronger, and that, as long as they continue working together, they can overcome this crisis. However, another group member announces that, starting the next day, he will take over leadership and everyone will attack the city's supermarket. Zheng He turns towards the voice and sees Kai Hongda and Qian Zhenyu. Immediately, everyone in the group agrees with the idea, knowing that the supermarket is a place full of essential resources. Meanwhile, Yu devours her meal. A meal and a bottle of water sent by Chen. He watches the girl through the video call and tells her she can eat slowly. After all, no one is going to snatch the meal from her. After eating, Yu admits she never thought Chen would manage to survive and is glad to have helped, and that her medicine was not wasted. Chen thanks her for the help and says he only survived thanks to her. Yu replies that she just did what any normal person would do when someone's life is at stake, but Chen counters by asking how many truly normal people still exist in that world, leaving the girl thoughtful. Then Chen notices where Yu is and asks how long she's been hiding under the table. He offers to rescue the girl, deducing that she is trapped. Yu does not respond and starts moving towards the button to end the call. Chen quickly says he has no bad intentions and that he lives in a large, safe house where she could stay and even take a hot bath. However, the girl just thanks him for the kindness as well as for the water and food and says goodbye, stating she's willing to help if he needs anything. Then the video call is ended and Chen wonders why Yu doesn't trust him and is so cautious with people. At the same time, Yu regrets not being able to leave her current shelter and comments to herself that the people out in the city have no idea of the real danger. Suddenly, the girl hears a noise coming from outside the window. She looks at the place with concern when a monstrous hand appears on the glass, leaving her in a state of panic. Sometime later, Chen runs through the city when he finds some glowing seeds on the way. The system informs him that this is the meat potato seed, a unique type of vegetation from Blue Star. It matures in 4 months, has a stem that looks like meat, is rich in protein, has traces of lamentation, and very strong adaptability. At night, Chen returns to the presidential suite on the 3rd floor of the sales center building and finds the window broken and the refrigerator open and empty, realizing there is an intruder in his shelter. Meanwhile, at another broken window, a mutant creature explores the place it invaded. Chen points his gun at the broken window, tries to calm down when he realizes he was confused due to nervousness. He knows that to break tempered glass like that, it would require someone with extremely high combat strength, and if that person was still around, the system would have issued some kind of warning. Suddenly, he hears a noise coming from the closet. Chen quickly points his gun in the direction of the sound and yells for the person to come out. The door opens, revealing a trembling girl with a hammer in her hand. Chen is surprised and asks if it was her who emptied his fridge, calling her Little Mouse. The girl tries to explain, stating she didn't break the window or steal the food, but the guy accuses her of lying, complaining that she didn't even bother to hide the weapon of the crime, the hammer. Then he demands to know where the rest of the food is. The girl hesitates to respond and asks for a bottle of water first. Chen gets angry and says she has a lot of nerve asking for water after having already stolen several bottles from the fridge. However, the girl also loses her patience and hits his foot with her hammer. Chen screams in pain, but before he can react, she punches him in the face, making him fall and takes the moment to run away with his storage ring. The guy curses the girl, who thanks him for everything, calling him Big Brother. Irritated, Chen complains that the system didn't show a hidden tip this time and swears he'll capture the little mouse. However, before he can do anything, the girl returns, asking if he has a weapon. Chen, incredulous, asks if water and food were not enough and if she now also wants to steal his gun. Ignoring the provocation, the girl closes the door and asks him to turn off the light, explaining that a zombie is coming. Chen threatens to finish her off alone with the zombie unless she returns his ring. At that moment, a red warning appears in the system, alerting him to be careful with the window. Suddenly, a mutant creature bursts through the broken glass, flying towards Chen. While he processes the shock, the system informs him that the monster is a crawling larva, a Type 2 mutant which has high speed and jumping ability, but poor vision, reacting to light. The monster is intercepted by the girl, who attacks it with her hammer, saving Chen's life. The guy is surprised by the strength of the girl and starts to understand how she managed to eat all the food in his stock. However, the attack with the hammer only buys time for Chen to act. He aims at the creature and fires, hitting his target. The crawling larva bleeds on the floor, but Chen is puzzled by its resilience compared to a normal zombie. He then turns to the girl, demanding that she return the storage ring if she wants to stay alive. At that moment, the crawling larva gets up again and the two are surprised that it is still alive. Then Chen yells at the girl to return his ring quickly, explaining that he is out of bullets and needs to access his storage to get more. However, she retorts, saying it would be the same if he handed her his shotgun. Suddenly, the mutant attacks. Chen dodges and hits the creature with a kick, which falls on top of the fridge, ready for a new attack. The girl then throws the ring to Chen, who catches it in the air. In the next instant, the crawling larva flies towards him. Chen quickly grabs the bullets from his storage, reloads the revolver, and fires at the creature. However, the mutant retreats, fleeing to the ceiling safely. Chen reflects, surprised, on how the creature dodged the bullets, concluding that it has intelligence. At that moment, the larva prepares to attack again, this time aiming at the girl, who screams in desperation. Fortunately, Chen acts faster and hits the crawling larva with his katana, finally putting an end to the threat. Afterwards, Chen collects 15 energy core crystals from the mutant creature and orders the girl to leave, making it clear that he's only allowing it this time, since she helped him. However, she refuses to leave, arguing that she found someone with many resources and strength, which makes her believe that he should be her boss and protect her from dangers. Chen gets serious and raises his katana as if to attack her. The girl gets scared when she notices that his shirt is torn, which means he has a wound caused by the mutant. She starts laughing at Chen, saying that he will turn into a zombie in 2 hours and offers to end his life before he feels pain in exchange for keeping all the resources he has. Chen looks at his arm and asks suspiciously if the girl lured the creature to him on purpose. Shocked to believe he is doomed, he begins to say that before dying he wants something. The girl panics, imagining what he will ask for. Then Chen explains that his last wish is to take her with him. Desperate, the girl yells that she will come back when he turns into a zombie and will get her revenge by smashing his head with her hammer. Then the girl leaves, leaving Chen relieved, for although the apocalypse is full of bad people, it is rare to find someone as arrogant as her. Finally alone, he looks at his arm, which in fact was not wounded. The next day, the girl cries for having lost the zombie Chen and all his resources. Meanwhile, in a more distant place in the city, Chen is happy to have found this safe island, a refuge as good as the sweet, thanks to the map he received from you. He crosses a bridge to reach the island, while the system warns that the place is perfect for a shelter, as it has no zombies nearby. Then the guy goes to the island house and walks exploring the place. Suddenly, Chen hears a noise. He follows the sound to under a table, where he finds a frightened wolf cub. The system informs him that the animal is of rank S and can be tamed with food. Chen gets excited about the discovery of the furry, but his excitement scares the wolf even more, who starts growling like a beast. Then he offers a piece of meat to the cub, who looks at the food rolling towards him and sniffs it cautiously before eating. While devouring a piece of meat, the beast stares at Chen, and the system informs him that he currently has one favorability with a cub. When it reaches 100, the animal will be bound to the player, becoming loyal forever. Moreover, the system explains that the wolf is equivalent to an extremely strong human holding a weapon. Chen notes that even though it's a small cub, the wolf already has combat skills equivalent to those of Wang Surun, and comments once again how lucky he is. At the same time, somewhere in the city, two players beg for help from Zhang Hao's group, injured after a zombie attack. Zhang Hao asks his team to give a little food to the two. Zhen Yu questions the leader's decision, arguing that the group has few supplies and in just 2 hours, the players will turn into zombies. However, Zhang Hao reminds him that they were injured protecting the group, so the least they can do is give them a little food before sending them away. Zhen Yu stares at the leader, clearly disagreeing with his decision, but ends up accepting. Meanwhile, Hongda thinks to himself that this is a foolish decision. Sometime later, Chen gives the last piece of meat to his wolf, which is now extremely docile with him, wagging its tail, eager for another meal with the favorability level at 99. And thus, with one more piece of meat, the cub is finally completely tamed, officially becoming loyal to Chen. The wolf is named Pang, and the system notifies that its rank will increase as it grows, gaining better combat abilities and new skills. Moreover, the game indicates that Pang can feed on meat, zombies, mutant animals, and insects. The system also warns that entering combat mode will significantly boost the wolf's size, strength, speed, and physique. Chen is pleased to learn that Pang can eat zombies, as it will make feeding him easier. Later, the guy calls the wolf to drink some water. He turns on the tap, but the water coming out is filthy. Chen then realizes that it won't be long before Phase 2 of the game begins. Soon, in addition to various types of monsters appearing, potable water will become scarce, making survival even more challenging. At night, Chen goes outside with Pang to plant the seeds he had found. The pup enjoys digging the soil, but Chen scolds him upon noticing that he is digging too deep. Afterwards, he waters the seeds with some drinking water and thinks that if it doesn't rain, he will need to use more of his reserves, which would quickly deplete his water supply. Therefore, Chen concludes that he urgently needs to acquire a water purification device. He also reflects that once Phase 2 begins, the natural protection of the waterway won't be enough to keep the place safe, making it necessary to build an interception fence to prevent intruders. Then he instructs Pang to guard the house and keep anything from approaching the island. In the game's public chat, everyone is concerned about the city's polluted water and the zombies, which are growing larger and stronger. Some players report seeing zombies as big as vehicles, while others warn about the danger of a crawling monster. One person also comments on Wang's absence, wishing for someone to trade items with. The girl who had met Chen also participates in the chat, asking if anyone has seen a zombie wielding a shotgun at the sales center. Zhang Hao reappears in the public chat, reintroducing himself and informing that he has a camp with 15 survivors, including him. He highlights that 3 of his members are extremely strong, and that the previous day they raided the Fuxing supermarket. Zhang states that they will continue conducting similar operations and invites anyone interested to send a private message to join the group. Another player uses the chat to alert that a group of 4 men and 2 women is robbing weaker or solitary survivors. In the city, a girl takes down a zombie while her partner does the same. Then they collect the items dropped by the creatures, satisfied with having defeated 12 zombies that day. Suddenly, an arrow strikes the girl fatally. The boy panics as he sees his partner fall, but soon meets the same fate. Their bodies drop to the ground, lifeless. On the balcony of a nearby building, a man scolds the red-haired shooter for ignoring his request not to attack the girl. Annoyed, she questions if it's not enough for him. Then the shooter tells him to stop wasting time and go collect the items from the young victims. However, before descending, the man spots a new target, Chen, who walks calmly through the city. The game system alerts Chen that there are two thieves with bows and arrows at the window on the third floor of the building nearby. Reflecting on the situation, he realizes that since the players are using long-range weapons for an ambush, they must have already taken down many others with this tactic. A woman prepares to shoot at Chen, but a man cautions her not to expose their location. He comments that their new target has come from the zombie meeting point at the river's first bank. Then he calls another player named Lao San to assist with the ambush, explaining through a video call about their new prey. Ken figures it would take about 20 seconds to climb to the third floor, which would surely be enough time for the thieves to escape. With that, he concludes that he needs to find a way to lure the thieves downstairs. At that moment, other players appear in front of Chen, realizing the thieves are more numerous than initially thought, divided into two groups to carry out the ambush. 3 players surround him, and one demands that he hand over all of his valuable items in exchange for sparing his life. Chen smiles and returns the threat, warning the thieves the same fate awaits them. Then, a 4th member of the group attacks from behind. The redhead also fires an arrow, but Chen sees it and catches the arrow with one hand. However, he still suffers a blow from a hammer from the attacker who came from behind. Chen falls to the ground, and the thief, mocking his arrogance, comments on how weak he is. Meanwhile, the one who hit him with the hammer calls for the boss, the man at the building's window. The shooter starts to descend, but the boss tells her to wait. She ignores the command and jumps down from the building, landing on the ground with him following her. The redhead questions how he can be the boss if he is so fearful and declares that she will be in charge from now on. At this moment, Chen begins to move, discreetly picking up his katana. The boss sees and tries to warn the 4th member of the group about the danger, but Chen is quicker. He charges at the thief and attacks him from behind. After dispatching him, he notes that the entire group of bandits has now gathered. The first to confront Chen charges at him with a sword in rage, but Chen slices him in half. Suddenly, a game alert warns Chen of a grenade. A massive explosion follows. The boss, who had thrown the grenade, quickly grabs the redhead's hand, telling her to flee as the target has proven too strong. As the place explodes, other group members call out for their boss left behind to die. Chen escapes through a building window, exiting the explosion safely. Meanwhile, the boss continues to flee with the redhead, who questions why they are running when they still have another grenade. He explains that the target's speed and strength indicate he's probably reached the physical limit, so they are no match for him. Then, noticing Chen following them on the building's balcony, the boss picks up the pace, warning his partner they are being followed. Suddenly, an extremely large and terrifying zombie blocks the path of the bandit duo, causing them to halt. Chen descends from the building, encircling the two. Dozens of zombies, including the giant one, advance toward the players. The boss, realizing they are surrounded, begins negotiating with Chen, offering to give up half of their resources in exchange for their lives. Chen scoffs, demanding at least 80% of their possessions. The man complains, saying 80% is too much, and the redhead chimes in, telling Chen not to over-negotiate, especially as the giant zombie approaches them, leaving no escape. Chen tells them to wait out the zombies together, showing no concern despite the game's red warning to steer clear of the giant zombie, as it could kill him instantly. As the creature draws nearer, the man agrees to give up 80% of his items but asks Chen to drop his sword first, then throw him the storage ring. Chen complies, laying down his katana while remaining calm. The man then whispers to his partner that the young man has fallen for their ruse and plans to throw the grenade when the zombie gets closer while she retrieves Chen's sword. The woman agrees regardless of whether Chen is a physically enhanced individual or not. Chen finds humor in the situation as the zombies close in. The man reaches for the grenade in his pocket, but suddenly his partner snatches it from him, pushes him toward the zombies, and runs away. The boss of the thieves is left in despair, struck by one of the creatures, which sends him flying, while he is shocked by the woman's betrayal. The redhead runs away, recalling that the man said he loved her, so she should help him block the zombies. The man screams as he is crushed by the giant zombie, and at the same time, the thief triggers the grenade, causing a massive explosion that completely obscures Chen's view. Surprised that the woman actually used the grenade, Chen then notices the boss being devoured by the giant zombie, with his storage ring falling to the ground beside his sword. As the creature turns, noticing his presence, Chen worries, and the game system advises him to flee the zombie and pursue the woman, as it's a safer choice. Deciding to heed the game's advice, Chen plans to return later to retrieve the ring and sword. Nearby, where the pair of players was taken out by the shooters, Zheng Hao's group arrives on the scene. Zhen Yu recalls someone warning in the game's public chat about the bandits, and the leader is puzzled why they didn't take the players' items when another group member shouts that the bodies of the bandits are just ahead. Zheng Ho becomes concerned and yells to his team that the bodies might be a trap. He instructs the group to stay alert, and they immediately form a circle to keep watch on all sides. At that moment, the redhead appears running while yelling at Chen, calling him crazy for chasing her instead of grabbing his partner's storage ring. Chen silences the woman with a shot, and her body falls near Zheng Ho's group, causing panic. Chen appears, armed with his shotgun, and the team leader orders everyone not to move. Then the game informs Chen that a beginner-level water purifier project is available, which to build he will need a regular water purifier and an energy core crystal. However, the system notes that the beginner-level purifier will not make the water drinkable but can be used for washing, watering crops, and other purposes. Zheng Hao trembles with fear of the new threat and asks Zhen Yu to collect the storage rings from the corpses to give to Chen. Furthermore, the leader warns that if the player refuses to let them go, he and Zhen Yu will stay to hold them off while Hongda should lead the team to evacuate. Then Zheng Hao informs Chen that his team is just passing through and has no ill intentions. Zhen Yu kneels to pick up the rings from the bodies of the players and throws them to Chen, but he yells at her, making the woman tremble with fear, while Zhen Yu and Hongda remain on alert. However, Chen explains that he did not eliminate the other two players, and that since they discovered the bodies first, the rings belong to them. Zhen Yu thanks him and asks if Chen could tell them his name. The man tosses the rings back to Zhen Yu and introduces himself as he walks away. Later, at sunrise, Chen searches for the sword and ring, but since he finds nothing, he assumes someone else must have taken them and decides to return to the island. Nearby, the girl who met Chen in the suite celebrates having found a good sword, feeling lucky. In farming, the system informs Chen that the seeds have begun to sprout and will take 120 days to mature completely, but he can use the rapid growth fertilizer to speed up the process once every 3 days. Then Chen uses 200 mutant fertilizers, which merge and form 20 rapid growth fertilizers. Afterward, he uses the speed growth fertilizer 7 and a sprout appears. The system notes that the time has dropped to 60 days until the meat potato seed matures. Chen is pleased with the result and plans to use the growth fertilizer again in 3 days to collect more seeds and plant them throughout the island. Inside the house, Pang brings a bucket of clean water to him, thanks to the beginner water purifier. Chen reflects that the purifier isn't bad, but if he finds an intermediate-level water purifier project, he won't need to worry about potable water either. Then Chen pets his wolf and says that after checking the plantation, the two will go out to face zombies together. And so during the night, an arrow flies and hits one of the zombies, launched by Chen. Pang also faces the creatures, looking much fiercer in his combat state. Chen explores the area, reflecting that his wolf's new form isn't bad at all. He also reflects that he needs to level up as soon as possible and collects 13 zombie corpses, obtaining 5 mutant fertilizers and 19 energy core crystals, now holding a total of 103 crystals. However, he needs 300 to reach the next rank of Awakener. At that moment, a small mutant creature passes by them, turning into the street. Pang notices the monster and goes after it, focused on the hunt, not hearing his owner asking him not to go as it could be dangerous. The wolf pursues his target, unaware of the presence of others of the same species above him. Then 2 creatures pounce from above, and Pang finally realizes he has been ambushed. He bites one of the monsters while the other attacks him from behind. The wolf growls at the creature like a true beast, while other mutants start to emerge from all around. Fortunately, Chen shoots one of the monsters and asks Pang to hold on tight. From atop a building, he aims at the mutant creatures, focused on not making any mistakes. He launches another arrow at the monster stuck on the wolf's back, but the arrow breaks, causing Chen to lament. Then the mutant leaves Pang to go after the shooter, which Chen finds beneficial since he now doesn't need to approach the creature. She flies towards him and Chen braces for the attack, accessing his storage. In doing so, he eliminates the monster, securing 15 more energy core crystals. Pang continues to struggle against the rest of the pack, and Chen yells for him to turn his back to his side. The wolf complies, and Chen strikes a new monster that had latched onto its back, making it release the animal. Chen lands, falling to the ground next to Pang, who attacks the monsters while he orders the wolf to hurry so they can leave before the situation worsens. At that moment, more mutant creatures appear, surrounding the duo on all sides. They freeze, realizing the gravity of their situation. Then they flee from the pack, with Pang reverting from combat mode to his original appearance, and Chen regretting having brought him along on the hunt. A mutant creature blocks their path ahead. The monsters encircle them, and Chen wonders about the unusual number of monsters, pondering if it signals an impending game change. He then instructs his wolf to prepare for another attack. Nearby, 2 players guard the entrance of a building, while inside, Zheng Hao urges his group to collect the items they found so they can leave before attracting zombies. At that moment, 2 mutant creatures approach the building's entrance. Two more appear, and the guarding players quickly enter, shutting the door and warning the others of the danger. Jinyu is puzzled by the sudden increase in mutant creatures, while another girl in the group laments that they can't return to their refuge with the creatures outside. Suddenly, one of the monsters slams into the glass, startling one of the players. Others tremble with fear, and the leader orders everyone to hurry and block the door. They struggle to push a heavy cabinet against the entrance. Outside the building, Chen continues to battle the creatures with his bow and arrow, collecting another 10 energy core crystals. The girl from Zhenyu's group spots him through the glass and comments to the others that someone is surrounded by mutants. They watch as Chen fights off the monsters, and one comments that he doesn't even seem surrounded. Two creatures fly towards Chen, and Zhenyu warns him of the danger. Chen strikes the monsters and pulls a weapon from his storage to shoot at a larger mutant in front of him. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the city, a girl wakes up feeling very hot, her face flushed, puzzled by the reason. She checks the system, which congratulates her on becoming an awakener, making her wonder about her unexpected advancement in ranks, as all she did was sleep. Back with Zheng Hao's group, the leader comments on the strange appearance of so many mutant creatures and tells everyone that their plans for the day are cancelled, as it's safer to immediately return to the camp. Nearby, Chen continues running from the monsters, which have been on his tail even after he fled for 6 entire blocks. Suddenly, the mutants freeze, stopping their chase. Chen wonders why, when a game alert notifies that a player is illegally leveled up to an awakener, and due to the cheat, the game's second phase will start sooner than planned, in 60 seconds, the time it will take to update. Chen looks at the paralyzed creatures behind him, and the game advises him to eliminate them while he can, as they are evolving into adults, becoming an even greater threat. He recognizes this as a good opportunity to act. Meanwhile, Zheng Hao's group runs as fast as they can to find a safe place to hide before the update timer runs out. With only 25 seconds left until Phase 2 begins, Chen collects the items he managed with the mutant creatures. Suddenly, dozens of zombies appear before him. The game system informs him that this horde of zombies is still being generated but includes giant zombies and a large number of mutant creatures. Chen is astonished by the large number of zombies blocking his path and asks the system to recommend a better route. The game advises him to take an alley, turn left for a few meters until he reaches a fuel-filled truck that is about to appear with the update, which could be used to get away from the zombie group. Chen comments that he doesn't know how to drive, but given the circumstances, he follows the system's recommendation since he has no other choice, with only 15 seconds to get to safety. Chen runs, thinking that Phase 2 must be meant to eliminate all players. He moves right through the middle of the group of zombies being processed by the update, going as fast as he can, realizing he is running out of time. With only 8 seconds left, one of the giant zombies watches him intently. After 5 seconds, Chen reaches the vehicle mentioned by the system. However, as he gets closer, he sees a mutant creature right on top of the truck and questions the game's recommendation of this gift, as he might not even be able to open the door. Then Chen looks under the vehicle and decides to hide there. With only 3 seconds left until Phase 2 begins, Chen rushes under the truck. In his haste, he hits his foot on a stone, causing him to roll in pain and complain as the countdown continues, reaching 2 seconds. So Phase 2 of the game begins, and the creeping larva, which was atop the vehicle, flies towards Chen. He dodges the creature, which hits the ground with such force that it breaks the floor with the impact. Reflecting on the situation, he notes that despite the monster's size, its speed is not slow. At that moment, he realizes the mutant is gearing up to attack again. The creature flies at him, and Chen dodges, executing a maneuver to evade the attack. However, he notices he's struggling to keep up with the monster's speed, concluding he won't survive if the fight drags on too long. Following another attack, the creeping larva approaches him again. Chen eyes the advancing monster and regrets no longer having his sword, knowing he's no match for the enemy without it. Thus, lacking his preferred weapon, Chen prioritizes escape and finding a hiding spot. The mutant creature pursues him as he runs into the truck, where he finds a rocket launcher on one of the seats. The larva continues to advance, getting closer to the vehicle, but this time Chen is prepared to use his new weapon. He fires a shot at the creature, which explodes. Nearby, Zheng Hao's group is surrounded by thousands of zombies. The leader tries to keep everyone's hope alive, telling them to hold on because if they unite and work together, they can escape. Zhenyu shoots one of the zombies with a bow and arrow, while another group member panics and screams that they don't want to die. At that moment, a loud noise of footsteps arises from the giant feet of a zombie as large as the city buildings. The players panic at this new threat, and a girl remarks that none of them will survive this. Zheng Hao yells for no one to panic and suggests they slowly retreat to a spot where the zombie group's defense is weak. However, Hongda disagrees, insisting someone must lure the giant zombie. He reveals he has a plan that might help them escape, but it requires some to sacrifice themselves. Shocked, Zheng Hao yells at Hongda to stop talking. Yet Hongda counters that in this survival of the fittest world, no one will live without sacrifice, and Zheng Hao's personality isn't suited to lead the group. Annoyed by his companion's words, Zheng Hao and Zhen Yu are interrupted as the giant zombie approaches them. Then Zheng Hao leads his people to a street sewer cover. As they approach, the cover flies off and a creeping larva emerges, terrifying the leader, who realizes it's an adult mutant. A colleague notes it's the end of the line. Honda points out he warned they should have used bait, but now escape is impossible even if they do. At this moment, the group sees a truck approaching. Chen drives, finding the moment incredible as the system announces he has obtained 3 energy core crystals. He runs over the zombies with the truck, collecting more items easily. He ends up with a total of 588 energy core crystals, and the system notifies him he has more than enough to level up and become an awakener. So Chen clicks the evolution option, becoming a level 1 awakener. The game system announces new talents activated and that 1200 energy core crystals are needed to reach level 2, with only 288 left. Then Chen speeds up the truck, and Zheng Hao's group cheers, realizing he is heading their way, happy to receive help. While driving, Chen positions his rocket launcher through the vehicle's window and launches a shot, causing a huge explosion where the zombie horde was. One of the players celebrates, and Zhen Yu is happy to recognize that the driver is Chen. Then the truck continues eliminating zombies and mutant creatures, clearing the path for the group, and Zheng Hao urges everyone to hurry and follow the vehicle. Meanwhile, in another part of the zombie-infested city, Xiaoxi, a girl who had met Chen, was calmly among the creatures thanks to her new talent that allowed her to become a zombie, enabling her to escape disaster and safely search for supplies among the zombie hordes. At that moment, the girl sees a small wolf, her Pang, who growls at her. Sometime later, Zheng Hao's group has distanced themselves from the zombies thanks to Chen's truck. Hongda comments that they should send someone to follow the vehicle's driver to find out where he lives. Zheng Hao questions whether Hongda wants everyone to die and reminds him that they invited that player to join the group but were ignored, so they should not bother or displease someone like him. As the two talk, Zhen Yu reflects that it has been only a few days since his last encounter with Chen, and he has already become much stronger. Later, Chen returns to his shelter, which now had a fence protecting the area. The guy is happy to find Pang well and recover from his injuries, while the puppy is also thrilled by his owner's arrival. At that moment, Xiaoxi arrives on the balcony and comments she has a guest, recognizing Chen, whom she calls Zombie Brother. Pang somehow tells Chen they have a guest whose save intended to his wounds. Suddenly, the guy sees a red alert asking him to look up. Chen looks and sees the girl flying towards him, armed with her sword. He easily dodges the blow, recognizing the brat. Then he notices his katana and grabs it back, pushing Xiaoxi aside. The girl, calling Chen boss, asks why he didn't wait for her after he became a zombie, and tells him she searched everywhere for him. Chen asks Xiaoxi not to act as if they are close and comments that by her condition, she looks like someone about to turn into a zombie. The girl laughs and tells him that's a skill she awakened. Chen gets serious and attacks her with his sword. Xiaoxi dodges while questioning his attitude. Chen doesn't respond and tries another strike, which she also evades. Then Xiaoxi activates a skill called Trap, releasing a green mist towards the guy. The system warns that this is a zombie talent skill, capable of turning an extremely strong category player into a zombie in just 30 seconds. Seeing the girl's ability, Chen asks her to stop. He says he was just testing her and comments on how amazing that skill is. Then Chen reflects that besides him and the player who cheated, she is the third to reach the Awakener level, as far as he knows. The guy also considers Xiaoxi a skilled player who leveled up very quickly. However, due to her personality, he thinks he can't keep her by his side. Then Chen thanks Xiaoxi for taking care of his wolf pup and says he believes she's already emptied all the resources that were in his fridge, so she can leave now. Xiaoxi argues that, as her boss, he should ensure food and questions how he can push her away just for eating something. Chen starts losing patience and shouts at Xiaoxi that he is not her boss and orders the girl to leave immediately. Xiaoxi pleads for him not to be so cruel and tells him she has many skill books and designs, plus 30 storage ring fragments, and can pay for the food with them. Chen gets annoyed with her insistence and pulls the girl's hair, making it clear he's not open to negotiations since he has to sleep with one eye open when she's around, which tires his mind. Xiaoxi then tells him she knows the location of an arsenal, which could be very useful to him, since sooner or later he will run out of bullets, which will surely tire his mental health much more. Chen is immediately interested in knowing where the arsenal is, but Xiaoxi says that first she needs to know what she will get in return for the information and will only tell the location of the arsenal after a good while, to ensure he doesn't disappear as soon as he gets the information. Chen agrees and asks his wolf to stay close to Xiaoxi, especially at night, and to be informed immediately if the girl does anything suspicious. Then Xiao starts heading towards the house calmly, but Chen asks her to wait and demands the skill books and designs she mentioned. However, Xiao feigns misunderstanding and says she doesn't know of any book, suggesting he must have misunderstood. Irritated, Chen comments he has enough gun bullets, so he doesn't really need to go to the arsenal. Right then, Xiao praises her boss's good memory and says she remembered she indeed has skill books and designs to give him. Chen warns her not to pull any tricks, as they won't work with him. Then the girl accesses her storage, bringing out a bunch of skills. Climbing specialty for climbing buildings and cliffs more difficult. Clothes Master, which allows using fabrics to make clothes, shoes, protective gear, and depending on the level, create rare quality garments and add attributes. Wood Gathering Capability, which allows collecting wood from trees and products made from the material. Analyze Eye, the ability to see the combat potential of opponents, while providing Transparency ability, which gets stronger as the level increases. Additionally, she shows a design to make a long bow, and so Chen acquires the 4 skills: Climbing Specialist, Clothes Master, Wood Gathering Capability, and Eye Analysis, as well as the design to construct the long bow. Chen praises Xiaoxi's initiative to hand them over to him. She also gives him the 30 storage ring fragments she had. Then the guy says he will give Xiaoxi some mutant fertilizer later, so she and Erpang take responsibility for taking care of the potato plantation, which is in the second stage starting to grow. The girl agrees, calling him boss. Afterward, Chen says he will go inside to rest, but she is welcome to familiarize herself with the environment and find things to do. Xiaoxi confirms, saying he can leave the island's tasks in her hands, while thinking to herself how easy the situation has become, since now she no longer needs to go out to find food. Inside the house, the game's notification system informs Chen that he can use the 120 clean cloths he has in storage to create clothes in his style with level 1 protection. Then he examines a skill he received from the system called Genetic Improvement Direction, which enables him to increase his strength and physical endurance and gain faster speed through constantly changing genetic attributes. Also appearing is the Energy Improvement Direction, a capability to enhance the use of energy crystals, allowing survivors to obtain energy field packs. The system notifies Chen that he also gained dual talent as a reward for being the game's first legal awakener, and asks if he wishes to activate the genetic and energy enhancements. He confirms receiving the genetic enhancement, which multiplies his body's recovery speed by 10, allowing him to heal minor viral infections and increases his speed occurrence by 50%. With the energy enhancement, Chen obtains a shield that reduces damage from pure energy and increases the efficiency of energy crystals by 20%. Chen then notices his new physical state and concludes that with the energy protective shield and his sharp sword, he should have no trouble facing large zombies. Meanwhile, several zombies try to invade Zhang Hao's group's refuge, who struggles to keep them at bay by boarding up the windows. The leader asks his people to keep an eye on the zombie horde until they leave after securing the entrances. However, a group member drops his hammer, questioning the point of boarding up. After all, even if the zombies don't get in, they won't be able to leave, so they will die sooner or later. Desperate, he declares that the camp has become their tomb. Zhenyu tries to calm the companion, reminding him that they have survived many hardships before, while Hongda laughs at the situation. Suddenly, a player's eye begins to change. He advances on the girl, saying that she only thinks they survived because they were not hurt. Zhang Hao shouts for Zhenyu to be careful, realizing that the colleague had been bitten by a zombie and was transforming. The player continues to advance towards Zhenyu, telling her to try getting infected too, while she stands paralyzed, unsure how to react. At that moment, one of them grabs a sword. Hongda eliminates the former companion, now looking like a zombie, leaving Zhenyu horrified. He then asks his injured colleagues to immediately report so they can be taken to a peaceful place where they can stay until they turn into zombies without risking harming anyone. However, Hongda makes it clear that if he discovers the injury himself, no one should blame him for what will happen. Everyone at the camp worries about the situation, while one of them gets nervous, hesitant to reveal that he is infected. The people around notice his nervousness, and he looks worriedly at Hongda, who is pleased by the discovery. Then the man prepares to attack the young man, who trembles with fear, while the people around also become frightened. Zhang Hao shouts at him not to do it, while he prepares to draw his sword. Kanyu also hurries to stop her colleague, questioning what he is trying to do. Hongda attacks the infected young man with his sword, and Zhang Hao reaches him to prevent the blow. The leader arrives in time but cannot stop Hongda, who slices the boy into pieces. After eliminating the former companion, Hongda tells Zhang Hao not to be so kind. He looks at the boy's body with no regret or remorse, while Zheng Yu and Zhang Hao are stunned. Then the man asks if they intended to let the infected live until the end. Zhen Yu, trembling, says the boy was working hard for the group's well-being and was a good boy. After mourning the loss, the woman arms herself with her bow, furious at Han Da, who reminds her that he saved her and questions whether she is indeed threatening to shoot him. Zhen Yu remains blind with rage, but Zheng Hao places his hand on her bow and says they are still surrounded by zombies, so they should not have internal conflicts. The girl remains upset but agrees with the leader and puts away her bow and arrows, making Han Da smile. Then the man takes advantage of her being unarmed and advances towards her, saying that those who threaten him should not live. To stop his friend, Zheng Hao unleashes a skill that makes Han Da fall injured on the ground. He gets up hurt and questions the leader for using the hidden killing move on him to protect someone he barely knows, noting that the two are childhood friends. The man complains about not being able to eliminate burdens to the group that are useless, neither infected ones about to turn into zombies nor those who threaten him. Then he says Zheng Hao's kindness will cause the camp not to survive. Then Han Da feels pain in the wound he had. Then Zheng Hao says that their group of 12 people arrived at that shelter together, so since his friend has saved his life before, he will repay the debt by letting him live. However, Han Da denies and asks the leader to go ahead and finish him. Zheng Hao faces his friend but ignores his request and calls two group members to help treat the man's wound. The two comply and assist Han Da to move. Then the leader makes it clear to his group that no one should mention what happened, as it is better to forget that conflict, and everyone consents. Then Zheng Hao asks Zhen Yu how long their food will last, and she replies 2 days. Then the man says that the next day, after most zombies have left, he will go out alone in search of resources. Zhen Yu is surprised, and the leader continues explaining that if he does not return by night, the group should split up, which makes the girl lament the possibility of that happening. 4 days later, at Chen's farm, the meat potato plantation finally begins to grow. Xiao Haxai sends Pang to harvest the potatoes and is impressed by the quantity, noting they have enough to feed the 3 of them for a week. Chen, who was lounging in the grass, tells the girl not to think only about eating. She needs to take care of the plantation by collecting the seeds and planting them. Then Xiaoxi notices the meat potatoes are very moist, making them hard to preserve, and suggests using her green mist to dry the food. Chen yells at her, asking if she wants to irritate him to death, and questions if she intends to turn them and the dog into zombies. Xiaoxi asks why he is so stressed and says she just wanted to try it out, but agrees to drop the idea. Chen then checks the game system, which informs that foods infected by the green mist ability contain zombie poison, though it does not affect their appearance or original taste. Armed with this new information, Chen asks Xiao Xai to test the green mist on one of the potatoes, and she agrees. The girl uses the mist on a part of the plantation, contaminating the meat potatoes. Later, Chen observes that there have indeed been no changes in the food, just as he had hoped. This makes it an excellent weapon to use against enemies without them suspecting a thing. He plans to use the poisoned potatoes when he encounters an opponent too tough to handle. He collects 31 poisoned meat potatoes and notes that the game system notification does not even change the name of the food, so he must be careful not to eat them by mistake. Then, Chen collects 162 wood materials and uses 100 of them plus 10 energy core crystals to create 10 enhanced longbows. Afterward, he uses another 10 wood materials and 3 energy core crystals to make 30 arrows. Chen then asks Xiao Xai to take the bows and arrows and sell everything in exchange for gasoline, food, water, and energy core crystals. The girl wonders if it's too little since, divided equally, averages only 3 arrows per bow. Ken explains she missed the point. After selling the bow, the buyer will need to continue buying more arrows, and during that period, they can increase the price as they wish. Xiao actually laughs, commenting on how cunning Chen is. She also tells him not to worry, as she will surely manage to sell everything. After settling this, Chen sees that Zhao Xiaoyu has made contact for a trade through the system after a long time without contact. Then he receives 30 mutant fertilizers, 5 energy core crystals, 10 clean cloths, 2 strong lanterns, and 3 batteries, which makes him curious since she sent a huge quantity of items before even negotiating for them. Then, Chen calls the girl, who answers the video call crying and asks why he called since she had given up trying to fight. Chen gets worried and asks what happened. At that moment, a giant foot breaks the window of the place where Zhao Xiaoyu is, causing her to scream. Then the girl says a creature is coming. She bids farewell to Chen, happy to have met him and thankful for his help, which allowed her to survive for so long, hoping the items she sent will be useful. Chen screams for Zhao Xiaoyu to tell him where she is so he can come to save her, but the call disconnects while he shouts her name. Xiao Xidi, who saw the giant creature through the video call, comments that the monster is so big that its paw is the size of the window. She also notices that the place seems to be the same arsenal she had visited. Then Chen pulls the girl by the shirt and asks her to quickly tell him the location of the arsenal. Xiao Xai agrees to speak but asks him to let go of her first. With the map of the city that Chen has, Xiao Xai points to the location of the arsenal but mentions that the last time she was there, she only walked around the perimeter. Chen says that's fine and tells them to head to the arsenal right away. Thus, the three set off toward the arsenal in Chen's truck, passing some crawling larvae. Xiao Xai observes that the zombie horde have finally gone away and comments that many people must not have survived the previous day. Meanwhile, Chen drives, hoping that Yu can hold on. On the way, they pass by Zheng Hao, who was facing one of the mutant creatures with his sword. Xiao Xai sees him and comments to Chen that there is a person fighting an adult crawler alone. Zheng Hao attacks the monster, hitting it. The creature screams in pain, and then he delivers his final attack, eliminating it. Then Zheng Hao continues on his way and Chen observes him, activating the Analyze Eye ability to assess the player's combat capability. While Zheng Hao faces another monster, Chen notes that the guy has an extreme physique and is adrenaline activated. He reflects that the player has just evolved and has a lot of courage to be out in the city, exposing himself even being in an extremely strong ranking, leading him to think that Zheng Hao is even crazier than him. Zheng Hao bravely continues facing the monsters, eliminating another one. Then he runs hurriedly when he notices the presence of the truck, realizing that it is a heavy vehicle that easily crushes the zombies. Afterward, Chen follows the path to the arsenal and steps on it, crushing all the crawling larvae that appear on the way. The three scream inside the vehicle while providing several energy core crystals to each eliminated monster. Xiao Xai notices that the game system is dividing the items equally between the two and comments on how walking with Chen has brought many benefits to her. At that moment, a giant zombie approaches the truck. Xiao Xai alerts the driver to the danger and asks him to be careful. But Chen continues forward and fortunately manages to take down the creature. The girl is relieved that everything went well, and Chen reassures her, saying the vehicle is reinforced and heavy, so she doesn't need to be afraid even if more giant zombies appear on the way. Suddenly, a monster jumps in front of the truck, startling them both. Chen shouts that it is a crawler and tries to get rid of the mutant when another from the pack flies onto the vehicle. Chen complains that the situation is getting complicated and asks Xiao Xai to drive while he goes out to face the monsters. Then he opens the truck door and calls for Pang, asking the wolf to get off first and secretly circle around. He also reminds Pang that the mutant creatures have some intelligence, so the two must find the right moment to attack. Afterward, Chen climbs onto the truck roof, where he encounters some adult crawling larvae. After getting rid of the monsters that were on the roof of the vehicle, he shouts to Xiao Xai that he will leave the driving to her, and that she should go at full speed, without stopping. Then the girl accelerates while Chen prepares to continue facing the mutants that insist on attacking, activating the lighting shield, which lasts for 5 minutes. At that moment, a creature arrives from the front while another attacks from behind, and Chen comments that they have learned to attack from both sides. Then he attacks the one in front, saying they chose the wrong prey. Next, he looks at the one behind, which flies towards him and dodges the attack. Afterward, Chen faces the creature, mocking it for thinking its stealth attack would work on him, and upon eliminating it, obtains 36 energy core crystals. However, suddenly another monster attacks Chen, managing to wound his shoulder. Even being an adult crawling larva, the guy gets rid of it with a punch, saying it should have attacked him after evolving. Then he eliminates the creature with his sword. Next, 2 other monsters appear in front of him, and Chen comments that compared to human combat techniques, they are quite weak. Then he advances, saying now it's his turn to attack. The guy performs his move, going at the first monster with a feint to catch the second off guard, obtaining another 32 energy core crystals. The surviving crawling larva flees, realizing it was no match for the fight. Chen is relieved to finally be free of the monsters and for the fight to have ended. He is also glad to have the shield, which blocked 10% of the damage he had taken. Then Chen activates genetic enhancement, repairing his wound on the shoulder. Suddenly, the crawling larva that had fled returns, catching the guy off guard and managing to knock him down and immobilize him on the roof of the moving truck. However, Chen smiles and says it should have fled while it could, but now it will have a miserable end. At that moment, Pang appears in his combat state and ferociously attacks the mutant creature. Then Chen delivers the final blow, obtaining another 32 energy core crystals. Afterward, he praises his wolf for appearing at the right time. Suddenly, Xiao Xai yells for Chen to quickly get back into the truck, and both she and the game system warn that there is a huge amount of giant zombies ahead. The girl becomes desperate and yells that the truck is at high speed, and there is no time to slow down. So they are about to collide with the creatures. They move forward, getting closer and closer, while Chen descends from the roof of the truck and enters through the window, telling Xiao Xi to hurry and let go of the steering wheel. In shock, she turns the truck, managing to dodge the horde of giant zombies, heading straight for the edge of the road. The girl yells that they are going to fall, but Chen takes the steering in time, making the truck return to the road and managing to pass some zombies. However, one of them emerges on the way and Xiao Xi realizes that, to make matters worse, the truck is about to explode. Then Chen advances towards the creature while the girl hopes for the best. The giant zombie is crushed by the vehicle, giving them 36 energy core crystals. At that moment, the system informs Chen that there are 40 seconds left before the truck explodes. The guy gets nervous but believes is enough time to get out of the situation. Then the trio speeds past the group of zombies while they attack the vehicle. Xiao asks Chen to stop, saying she needs to get off to vomit, but he refuses and moves on, managing to escape the giant creatures, while commenting that he's on his way to Zhao Yu, hoping she can hold on. Shortly after, Xiao notifies that they have arrived at the arsenal. So Chen tells them to count to 3 and jump together from the moving truck. He begins the countdown while the girl and the wolf prepare to leap. And so the 3 of them jump out right as the truck explodes. Then, Xiao comments that she'll never get in a vehicle with Chen again, who tells her to stop complaining and start running. The truck continues forward, crushing zombies in its path and breaking through the arsenal wall, creating an opening for the 3 to enter. Inside, Chen wonders what so many zombies are doing there. At that moment, the system advises him to enter the arsenal cautiously, as there is a large lizard with combat capabilities equivalent to a level 2 alarm clock. Then the guide freezes in fear at the sight of a huge creature before them. The lizard attacks, and Chen pushes the girl out of its path. She falls to the ground, worried about her partner who sacrificed himself to save her life. Then Pang charges at the lizard and Xiao screams for him not to go, but the wolf doesn't listen and charges ahead. The girl looks at the creature and thinks this is the time they won't survive. At that moment, Chen reveals he's still alive with his shield activated, firing at the lizard with his rocket launcher. Xiao gets a shock but is relieved to see him alive, while the guy comments that not everything can be devoured. He fires at the lizard again, and the system advises him to finish off the enemy quickly. Chen keeps firing his rocket launcher, but the system informs him the lizard is recovering. Then the guy draws his sword and advances on the beast, planning to finish it off while it's recovering from the wounds. However, just as Chen charges towards the lizard, it finishes recovering and opens its mouth to snatch its prey, surprising him with the creature's rapid healing. Chen realizes his shield was broken in the attack, so the fight cannot drag on. He observes that the lizard's eyes are weak spots, potentially fatal, besides its spine being the most vulnerable part of its body. With a plan in mind, he yells for Xiao to use her green mist to attack the monster's eyes, and she complies, activating her quartz fog covering ability. The mist hits the lizard's eyes, blinding it as Chen advances over it, prepared to deliver his final blow with the sword, which he plunges into its spine. The giant lizard screams in pain as it is hit, and the guy drives his sword deeper, managing to eliminate the monster, which falls lifeless. With the victory, Chen starts laughing for finally ending that fight, while his sword remains embedded in the lizard's spine. Afterwards, the guy gets off the lizard and Xiao runs up to him asking if he's alright. Then Chen activates genetic enhancement to recover from his wounds and urges the girl to hurry up and search the surroundings for Yu. Xiao asks for a minute to take a photo first and send it in the game's public chat as a way to boast about defeating the lizard, but Chen loses his patience and tells her to go look for Yu right away. So Xiao gives up on the photo and goes in search of the girl. Meanwhile, Chen collects the body of the giant lizard, obtaining 50 energy core crystals, 10 energy talent boosts, and 10 mutant fertilizers. In addition, he also gets evolved blood, a type of valuable medicinal material, 20 durable leathers, which can be used to create energy defense items, and 10 sharp claws, a type of rare material that can be used to make energy weapons. Then the 3 search together for Yu. Xiao yells that Chen is there to save her, and that he seems to like her, while the guy also announces they are there and that the lizard has been defeated. However, as they get no response, Chen worries about the possibility that Yu might no longer be alive, but he dismisses this idea, not wanting to believe he arrived too late. Then Xiao calls him to show what she found. A window that always appeared in the video call where Yu was. They clear the debris in front, opening a passage and find the girl unconscious. Xiao informs that Yu was infected by zombies some time ago, but luckily, she can heal the girl, although it's a lengthy process as it involves removing the virus that has already contaminated much of her blood. Chen tells the girl to heal Yu in her own time while he keeps watch. Then he goes to a door where the system warns that there are many weapons and ammunition. The guy happily opens the room and finds an armored vehicle. Chen then thinks that the adrenaline Yu once gave him to save him from the zombies must have been found in that arsenal, but reflects that it must not have been easy for her to take shelter in that place. Then he collects plenty of ammunition for his weapons when suddenly he hears a sound. Xiaoxi, who remains healing Yu, also finds the noise strange. Chen hurries to find out what it is and asks his partner to continue there with the girl. He runs through the arsenal and finds a chest of gold, but he finds it strange that the game's hidden hint hadn't informed anything about the discovery. As he approaches the chest, he wonders what might be inside it, when suddenly a giant hand emerges from the ground, coming out of something similar to a well in the room where Chen is. As the creature continues emerging from the hole, Chen grows anxious and points his gun, ready to confront the danger. At that moment, the head of a giant zombie appears at the entrance of the well. Chen yells at Xiao Xai to hurry and open the armored vehicle's door. Xiao Xai questions why she has to do this since Yu's recovery isn't complete yet. Then, Xiao Xai sees Chen firing at a zombie much larger than the others they've encountered and asks what kind of creature it is. Chen urges her to move faster and to get Yu to the vehicle while he holds off the zombie. Chen realizes that his rocket launcher hasn't damaged the enemy. At that moment, the monster attacks Chen as the game system announces it's a Type 3 mutant zombie, possessing super strength, speed, high reaction time, and resistance to attacks, capable of a sonic attack. Chen questions what's wrong with the world, how such a creature could be considered a zombie. Suddenly, a green fog covers the monster's eyes. Xiao Kaxei says she's controlling it and tells Chen to attack. He commends her work while drawing his sword, but asks her to take care of the vehicle and leave the fight to him. Chen then launches his attack, flying towards the zombie, sword poised for full force. However, as the monster turns to face him, Chen realizes his plan hasn't worked. The zombie hits Chen with its sonic attack just as Xiao Xai arrives with the armored vehicle. Chen rushes to escape the arsenal, grabbing Pang and entering the vehicle. The zombie attacks, causing everything to tremble as Chen starts the engine with everyone inside the vehicle. As they drive away, attracting the zombie's attention, it prepares to attack again. Chen drives towards the nearest exit at the hole where the monster had appeared, questioning why the hidden notification hadn't warned them about it. Xiao Xai screams that this is the end for them, worried about the exit path, while Chen drives on. The armored vehicle falls into the hole from a great height. He wonders if this was what the system intended. The vehicle crashes to the ground, impacting heavily. Chen is shocked to see they've landed in the monster's incubation nest. He and Xiao Xai then pour gasoline everywhere. Xiao Xai asks if they're using all they have, pained by the thought of how many arrows and bows they used to get the gasoline. Chen says they must completely burn the nest, as if the monsters hatch, Tianyang City will be in trouble. At that moment, Chen sees something that paralyzes him. The giant zombie falls into the well near them. Surprised by the monster's speed and following them, he urges Xiao Xai to hurry into the vehicle. The zombie hits the ground of the nest while the girl drives, regretting having gone out with Chen, as they are risking their lives constantly. The monster advances towards the vehicle as Chen continues pouring gasoline into the nest and yells at Xiao Xai to dodge, or they'll be crushed by the giant. He tells her to floor the accelerator to the end, and Xiao Xai does, moving away from the zombie. Chen finishes pouring the gasoline and throws the can at the giant's face. Then he grabs his rocket launcher from storage and aims at the monster. He fires, setting the place ablaze as they retreat. The giant zombie tries to reach the vehicle as Chen watches the situation through the window. The fire spreads as the monster pursues the vehicle, simultaneously destroying the nest with flames. The system congratulates Chen for successfully burning the breeding nest of Tianyang City's monsters, destroying 11% of it, and informs him that as a reward, he will receive a level 2 treasure chest. Chen is surprised to learn that only 11% of the nest was burned, realizing that the place is much larger than he imagined. The vehicle continues beyond the nest when something appears near them. Chen looks out the window, surprised to see they've encountered a new type of monster, a green zombie, which the system identifies as a Type 2 mutant zombie that can create and spit extremely corrosive and dangerous poison. At that moment, the creature releases its poison on the vehicle, managing to corrode the armored vehicle, which worries Chen about what would happen if it reached him. Then Xiao Xai screams for Chen to look ahead, drawing his attention. As he does, Chen sees the vehicle is surrounded by 3 of these mutant zombies, spewing poison at them. Xiao Xai begins to scream in despair as the vehicle is destroyed, but Chen tells her to keep driving or they won't survive. Then, Chen takes the wheel, aware that the vehicle won't last much longer. He presses hard on the accelerator, eager to leave that crazy place. Thus, the vehicle finally exits the nest, appearing in a location overlooking the mountains. The two cry, moved by their survival, while Xiao Xai begs never to go to such a dangerous place again, and Chen agrees, saying he won't return there even if forced. At that moment, a horde of Type 2 mutant zombies emerges from the nest, along with a Type 3 zombie and other large zombies, causing the duo to scream inside the vehicle. Xiaohexi looks at the number of monsters through the window while Chen starts the vehicle, stating they need to change their route or Qianyang City will be destroyed. The vehicle begins to move at full speed when suddenly they hear a noise from the roof, an adult crawling larva. Chen complains about the new monster's appearance and tells Xiaohexi that she will have to take the wheel so he can grab a weapon and face the mutant creature, as this type is very problematic. At that moment, Xiaohexi screams, realizing one of the monsters is approaching them from behind through the opening of the vehicle. Then Chen uses his sword to deal with the crawling larva, when Yu begins to moan in pain in the back seat. Xiaohexi remembers that she hadn't finished completely cleaning the virus from the girl, meaning if she isn't cured soon, she'll turn into a zombie. Then Chen asks Xiaohexi to continue cleaning the virus from Yu's body while he deals with the zombies. The girl agrees with the plan, moving to the back seat. Then Chen aims his rocket launcher at the monsters and starts firing at them through the vehicle's window. He eliminates a bunch of creatures, securing several clean cloths and energy core crystals, making the system inform that he now has a total of 756, needing 1,200 energy core crystals to level up. Chen keeps firing, blowing up some monsters, including the giant Type 3 zombie, while saying he'll show his firepower. He continues eliminating the monsters, obtaining more clean cloths and energy core crystals, getting closer to the necessary to advance a level, while firing non-stop at the giant zombie. Then Chen shouts to Xiaohexi to hurry and drive towards the bridge ahead. The girl accelerates, making the vehicle move away from the giant and cross the bridge. Then, Chen aims at the monster again with his rocket launcher. He fires, destroying the bridge, making the giant zombie fall into the water. Chen hopes he has managed to end the creature, but after the smoke from the debris disperses, the zombie appears still alive. However, it tries to swim in the water, growing furious as the vehicle continues on its way, reaching Qianyang City safely. Meanwhile, Zheng Hao hurries his group to walk faster as it's already night. As they walk, he tells Zhen Yu that he heard some reports from the team that Hong Da and some others hadn't delivered the supplies they collected in the past few days to her as they should. The woman confirms and explains that Hong Da has recruited some people from the group and no longer obeys orders unless they come directly from Zheng Hao. The leader regrets this but tells Zhen Yu to let Hong Da do what he wants as long as he is still part of the team. Suddenly, an armored vehicle passes by the two. The group is surprised to see such a vehicle, and Zheng Hao recognizes Chen. A short time later at the island house, Chen puts Yu in bed, while Xiaohexi and Pang also enter, completely exhausted and relieved to have finally returned. The girl rests while the wolf licks her face. Then Chen thanks Xiaohexi and comments that she did very well. The girl is surprised by the recognition and is moved that he finally calls her by her name. Chen strokes her head and says they are now a family. He then tells her to rest and call for him as soon as Yu wakes up. Later, as heavy rain falls, Chen analyzes his situation in the game. He looks at his storage, wondering what must be inside the level 2 ranking chest, as it's the first time he's obtained one. Upon opening the chest, the system informs him that he has obtained 30 external tents and 30 sleeping bags, plus 10 lighting equipment, 5 night vision devices, a telescope, a novice-level energy armor design, and an advanced-level pet ration. Chen also obtains a talent crystal, which the system explains that after using, he will gain a double talent, with each talent gaining +1. The system also explains that the pet ration will accelerate the animal's growth before adulthood, while the novice-level energy armor can be combined with a lighting talent that, when the user is in danger, covers the whole body, reducing 25% of the damage. Then Chen uses his talent crystal and achieves a gene and energy evolution. Thus, the game system displays 4 talent options for Chen to choose from: Concentrated Strike, which allows the player to emit an energy beam from their hands to destroy an enemy, being a power that increases as the player's level rises; Stivit Reflex, which increases his dodge, speed, and occurrence rate by +150%; Richard Group, which increases the resource production rate from non-special items by +60%; and Fury, which boosts all attributes for a short period but reduces damage resistance by 30%. Chen reflects that he frequently uses his sword for melee combat, so it would be good to improve damage reduction and defensive talent. Then Chen chooses the talents of Richard Group and Fury. Immediately, his whole body lights up with a change, including his eyes. After the change is made, he feels strange, feeling his body warm and cold at the same time, and wonders if this is because of the Richard Group talent.